Greeting interwebs, this is Jacket K, and welcome to another edition of Pokemon Yellow vs Leafgreen. I'd say we made a good amount of progress last time, getting our first Pokemon, making it to a new town, getting the Pokedex, all the essentials for starting a Pokemon game. While it may seem like we don't make a lot of progress in this episode, we do have a lot to cover in it, which is why I'm leaving this wild battle in. Well, really, today's excuse is look what we leveled up in this fight, and I didn't want you all to miss it. Not that I learned a new move or anything, I just wanted you to see it. It's hard to convince myself to cut these out when I'm breezing through them so quickly. But in case you're wondering, I do have a plan for wild battles. And it boils down to I'll cut them out unless I got something to talk about, like if it's a Pokemon we haven't seen yet. Basically it boils down to I'm playing it by ear and I'll do what I want, while trying to sound professional about it. Anywho, last time in Leafgreen we got Pokeballs from Professor Oak. Not in Yellow. Back in the old days, no one handed our essentials. We had to buy them for ourselves. Kinda like adulthood. Now, I'm not normally going to show my shopping expenses on screen, but since this is a comparison series, I felt like it was an important part to point out the differences while shopping between the two versions. At least that was my original plan. I was going to show off a trick where you can get free Pokeball if you buy 10 in Leafgreen, but despite the fact the game came out after Ruby and Sapphire, where that trick was established, you apparently don't get a Premier Ball this way in this game. I might as well stock up on other items while I'm here though. Now, if you're gearing up for the next area of the game like I am, it's a good idea to grab a couple potions and antidotes. The antidotes aren't really necessary for Yellow, but it will be helpful to have them in Leafgreen. It's annoying if not devastating if you get poisoned without one, and we're quickly approaching our first area of the game where you can get poisoned in. You're less likely to run into these Pokemon in Yellow, so 1 or 2 is just fine, but you're better focusing your scarce amount of money on potions and Pokeballs. But enough with all these explanations only necessary for the freshest of players. Let's talk about an NPC that'll do that sort of explaining for us. Behold, How Do You Catch Pokemon Guy? One of the more iconic NPCs in Pokemon, right next to Technology is Amazing Man. Not only is this how a lot of players in the 90s learned how to catch Pokemon, he's also the key to one of the more iconic exploits of the series. At least back in Red, Blue, and Yellow. Anywho, Tutorial Man gets right to the point. To catch a Pokemon, go into your item inventory, choose a Pokeball, and it gets thrown at the target. What I feel could be better explained in this guide though is unless your target's weak, like that Weedle, that alone's not going to work. Weakening a Pokemon to as low health as possible before throwing the ball is a must if you have any hope of catching the later on Pokemon. As we see in this footage of Yellow, where the old man's exposed for the fraud that he truly is. Not the pro you made us out to believe, man. Now, this actually isn't the end of Pokemon Yellow's catching tutorial, and since I feel a lot of Let's Plays skip over this, I'm going to take the time to show you the rest of it. Sure, you can say no, leave them feel bad and that, but I feel like giving them a second chance, because we all deserve second chances in life. If you're curious how to trigger this, you just go inside a building like the Poke Center and then come back, and he'll be there waiting for you again. While we're going through this though, notice anything different between the catching tutorials of the games? Well, in Yellow, I never had to talk to this man. I could actually just walk past him from the start. It's a bit more forced than Leafgreen. Well, at least in that game, he gives you something. More tutorials! The embodiment of tutorials, even. If there's anything you don't understand about Pokemon, open up that TGTV and there's likely a tutorial for it. And since it explains everything, there's no need to cover it since it probably explains itself, right? Not like I'm trying to hide an existence of an item out of fear it'll replace me. Right? Right? Right. Anyways, I just noticed we almost walked by that important looking building, trying to check it out, and I get kicked out. Really, I just tried to walk up there, see what it's about, and my trainer on me looked up. Then the game was like, nope, you're not getting in here, kick you off the cliff. Might be a slight exaggeration, but I think you get the point. This may be a new route, but I'll let the graphic do the explaining here. It's all Pokemon we've either seen before, or are gonna see very soon, like less than 20 steps away. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first dungeon of the game. The Viridian Forest. First dungeon of the series even. And that was a nice little opening. I love how they do that in Leafgreen. But enough of the nice fancy graphics. Time to switch over to Yellow because we've gone a good 5 minutes without footage from the game, and I mean to correct this injustice. Starting off with our first encounter, which is also our first capture. That's right, this little Caterpie is going to be joining the party. And yes, this is a comparison series. I'll be catching it in Leafgreen as well. Remember back last episode when I mentioned I had an alternative to catching any Pokemon recommended on the Viridian side route? This Caterpie here is going to be the trick. It gets a lot of flack to being one of the more weaker Pokemon in the game, but I do like Caterpie if only for design, and it will be helpful in several situations we're going to run in Yellow. Plus, as it grows, it will make catching other Pokemon easier. Again, it'll all be explained in good time. This Caterpie just makes an overall good middle road between going with a Mankey and not having a Pokemon to make that first major area easier. As for what this little bugger is going to be called, I'm going to go with the name Breeze. To explain my reasoning for this name with as little spoilers as possible, let's just say it's going to take off to the sky by the next couple videos. Now back over to Leafgreen, because to be honest I do enjoy the music of the forest better in this game. While I'm over in Leafgreen though, how about I give you a taste of how much longer the battles take with a grass starter? Nope, you're not hearing things. I did speed up this battle. Not only does Solo lack a stronger attack move the other starters would have at this point, it's always the same type as the Pokemon you have, so it would be a move that was resisted by the bug types that live in here anyways. Weedle is also part poison, which is resisted by the grass type move, and resistance does stack so that Weedle would only take a quarter of damage from grass moves compared if it was a type that was neutral against the bug poison. On the bright side, the Bulbasaur does resist poison, so these bugs can't do much back to it. Not only can you avoid worrying about double damage to Bulbasaur because of its part poison type, poison types cannot be poisoned, so it's immune to that as well. I don't think we need to show off any more wild Weedle fights though. Instead, allow me to avert your attention to this patch of grass here. Nothing too special in Leafgreen and Fire Red, but if we switch over to Yellow, you'll see they added a trainer. This young lady has the ability to hover over the grass. I guess you could say she's a magical girl. Ayo! Not only is this trainer exclusive to Yellow, she's the only trainer in this forest who doesn't use bugs. I think you can see what this means for our fate of our Leafgreen counterpart. In an attempt to distract you from me doing dumb fighting level 6 Nirance with a level 4 bug, allow me to talk about why this trainer exists. Normally in Kanto, you have a small chance of finding a wild Pikachu in the Viridian Forest. To keep your starter special though, they removed this from Yellow and replaced that encounter with a different Pokemon. Judging from the last's dialogue, it's safe to assume this trainer is the game's way of telling you, don't waste your time trying to find more Pikachus. Sadly, I'm sure some children back in the day tried to find another one anyways. No, I'm not speaking from experience. Maybe. While I am talking about changes and additions though, I noticed a lot of changes from Red and Blue to Yellow fall under one of two categories. One being changes made to make the game feel more like the TV show, and two, to compensate for the fact that your starter is a Pikachu following you around. This change would be more of the latter. You know what doesn't change though? Me trying way too hard to get this Caterpie experience. Bringing a Pokemon in to switch it is a common way to raise a weak Pokemon throughout the series. A Pokemon does gain a portion of experience as long as it's out for a single turn. Though that doesn't work out well if your team member that's carrying your team falls in the process, Jackie K. ... Okay, I might as well get this out of the way. I confess I'm stingy with my healing items. I'm the type of player who'd rather backtrack to a Pokemon Center rather than use a potion right there. I have improved this over the years, but still runs deep in my game blood, so I might have to cut out a trip to the Pokemon Center here and there, especially in the Viridian Forest. Trust me, I'm not going to force you to watch the trip back, unless I feel it's necessary for the commentary. So, the whole moral of this battle, don't let the magical girl's hours of hunting go to waste. You are not gonna find any more Pikachus in yellow. Luck Puppy's here to stay whether you like it or not. Right, Luck Puppy? That's what I thought. Now that I'm done showing off things in yellow though, I think it's safe to go back to the version with the soft sounding soundtrack. Dare I say peaceful when it's not interrupted by random battles. Speaking of which though, a random battle. With our first Caterpie in Leafgreen. Yeah, all the Pokemon we ran into. And we're only now finding a Caterpie. If I didn't look it up already, I assume Weedle had the higher encounter rate. Really, Sola? You had to miss Tackle? Your first attacking move? Gen 5 can't come soon enough. It would make sense that one bug Pokemon is more common in Fire Red when compared to Leaf Green, but oddly enough, it's only for the stronger form. Evolved form, I should say, but I'll get more into what evolved form is later. At least it's not in yellow where you can't run into a wheel at all. Yellow's weird like that, but I'll get more into that later too. My intention was to catch a female Caterpie, but you know, it took so long to find a Caterpie at all, and totally not because I forgot when recording this that I wanted a female Caterpie, that I might as well make Breeze a boy. Let's throw her a Pokeball. 2, 1, caught! Welcome to the team, new friend. Yeah, Pokedex, we know the spiel on Caterpie already. Let's name our totally new, manly female, not female, I mean, Caterpie, the name Breeze, and begin raising it up. It's got a little bit of catching up to do considering how it's progressing in yellow. It's time for another edition of Who's That Pokemon? This time I believe you guys deserve a hint. It's a Pokemon we've encountered in yellow but have yet to run into in Leaf Green. If you don't remember, I did talk extensively of how this Pokemon could be an asset to your team. Find out what that Pokemon is after the break. It's Nidoran! As I said before, Nidoran male and female are great assets to your team. If you think this little bugger's cute though, you haven't quite seen this sprite in the original Pokemon games. I'm actually using a sprite from Pokemon Green, which is actually the common sprites people use for the very first Pokemon Red and Green versions over in Japan. Between going from the Japanese version to the US version, they actually upped the sprites. Nidoran male is practically the same between Red and Blue in the US and Green in Japan, but trust me, there's some interesting designs for the original sprites. Maybe we'll cover them in a future Who's That Pokemon, but until then, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Well, at least this Caterpie's level is not as low as what I call in yellow. Hopefully that means it'll be easier to raise up. Speaking of yellow though, you never probably said it's weird. Well, we're about to run into our first Pokemon exclusive to it right now. Nope. My bad. It's the next encounter. So 3, 2, 1. It's a Pidgey. Totally the first wild Pokemon we encounter in the game. But it doesn't appear in this forest in other Kanto games, so it counts, right? Okay, that one was anticlimactic, but I have a cool encounter to show you guys. I swear, it'll make the best segue too. Our rare encounter in the Viridian Forest, yellow version, is the evolved form of that Pidgey, Pidgeotto. You have a 1% chance of running into a Pidgeotto, and is way under the level it would normally evolve at. It's a reference to the anime where Ash's second Pokemon he caught was a Pidgeotto, and you know what? I think I'm gonna make this my second Pokemon as well. Well, cause I love making things hard on myself. Sure, the Pidgeys we caught earlier would eventually become Pidgeotto, but I thought it would be a nice novelty and a good way to show contrast between Leaf Green and Pokemon Yellow early on. It's just a matter of not screwing up catching the dang thing! I'm walking on eggshells having a Pokemon that does super effective damage to it. But this is my best bet to paralyze Pidgeotto with Thunder Wave, because that does improve my catch rate without damaging it. Since I didn't get a chance to cover it all properly, let me go more into details of what makes a Pokemon easier to catch. There are 4 main factors that determine how likely a Pokemon will be caught. The species of Pokemon itself, the percentage of health it has remaining when the ball is thrown, and the status condition inflicted on said Pokemon, as well as the type of ball you use. For example, this Pidgeotto is going to be the hardest to catch out of any Pokemon in this forest, because it's already involved, therefore is a stronger species than a little Caterpie. And there are exceptions, like how certain one kind of Pokemon has like same catch rate as a much more common Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl. Sorry, I had something in my throat. It's also worth noting the level does not affect how hard it is to catch, just the type of Pokemon it may be. The image is self-explanatory. The closer it is to 0, the easier it is to catch. For status conditions, if you inflict poison or paralyzation, or even a burn, you improve the odds. But if you manage to... well, I'm screwed. Like I was saying, when you inflict a condition like sleep or freeze, your odds are even better than something like burn or paralyzation. We don't have that yet though. Last but not least is the Pokeball type. When you get a stronger Pokeball, which we do eventually, it will have better odds. So I'll cover that when we get a new type of Pokeball. The formula for catching a Pokemon is actually more complicated than I let on, and it does vary between the first and third generation slightly, but this should cover the basics, or at least everything you need to know, to get the best odds catching a Pokemon you can muster. I'm not too happy about losing a puppy like that, but I didn't have much choice. Seeing how much a single Thundershock did, I knew Breeze was going to need to get a few hits in, if I wanted any hope of catching this dang bird. Took some balls just to let Luck Puppy faint, but I needed his attack lower so I could get those tackles in without dying. Would be fine if I was able to get more than 1 tackle off every 5 turns. It is what it is though. Oh, by the way, I apologize for a bit of a time paradox I'm creating with Breeze, but because the order I caught my Pokemon in, due to how rare they were, there's no way to perfectly edit this part without a time paradox or 2. Promise everything will fix itself out by the time this episode's over. Yep, definitely got tired of waiting for it to get to red health. Thankfully it all worked out. Maybe I was being too cautious, but I've had tons of trouble catching this Pidgeotto in past playthroughs of the game. And in case you couldn't tell from Breeze's time paradox, I did not want to wait to find another Pidgeotto. Took way too long to find that one. Welcome to the team though, Ace. It's good to have you, and I'm sure you're gonna do great things. Well, now that I finally revealed my second caught Pokemon, I can go back and get the Pidgey. And there won't be any spoilers for Leafgreen. It's the perfect gender and everything. Oh, look here, Breeze actually stands a fighting chance. It's almost like fighting a tiny bird is easier than fighting a giant bird, who would have thought? But yeah, no hack Pidgeottos in red, blue, nor the remakes. So it seems we're gonna have to raise this bird up the old-fashioned way. Like I said though, it makes for a nice contrast for a series that's supposed to be about comparing and contrasting the games. And a few ball shakes, you will be mine, you little bird. Welcome to the team, baby Ace. You may not be evolved, and you're gonna need a lot more raising up than your alternative self. But hey, we're one step closer to fixing the time paradoxes. Speaking of which, we only have one more Pokemon and we'll be caught up on the Leafgreen team. It'll be the same as the yellow team, that is. For now, I guess we can only walk back to the area left off on, and... Hello, Pikachu! Took your time showing up, didn't you, dear? Well, at least I didn't have to go through the trouble that I did before, unlike a certain bird. This is the one time it does pay off to have a grass type in this forest, so come on out, Sola. It's your chance to shine. Electric attacks get resisted by the grass type, and since that's Pikachu's only way of harming us, it makes Sola the best option while we whittle down our rodent friend. Thankfully, Pikachu has quite an easier catch rate than Pidgeotto. Not quite as easy as other Pokemon in this forest, but as long as I can catch it in a Pokeball without paralyzing it, I'll be fine. It's not quite whittled down, but easy catch rate. I'm about to prove it right here. 3, 2, 1, caught! Welcome to the team, Luck Puppy. Again. Shame we couldn't find you at a level your starter form was in, but I suppose we can make do. Now we just need to find a Bulbasaur in yellow, and natural order will be restored. Sadly, we won't find any new Pokemon for a while, so I suppose we'll just have to move onward with our adventure. But first, why don't we take a quick look at our new catch? Not that it matters too much for me when playing through the main story of a Pokemon game, but it feels more complete of a playthrough if you guys have an idea of the stats my Pokemon have, if you so choose. To briefly describe it, every Pokemon is different, even if they're the same species. They have different strengths and weaknesses with their stats. In the 3rd generation, these differences are a lot more noticeable and easier to manipulate into your favor. Easiest way of doing this is checking their nature and adjusting accordingly. Knowledge is not needed to beat the main game, though expert trainers will take full advantage of it to make the most out of each party members, especially in multiplayer battles. Speaking of battles though, here comes the trainer now. Hello, Bugcatcher Rick. No, I have not forgotten about you. I'm never gonna give it up. How you really let me down. How I got to run around, deserted by you. How you really made me cry by saying goodbye, and how you told me lies and hurt you. I do have a natural history of this guy. I'm not making up for the Rick Ashley reference. Maybe, well, not only for the Rick Ashley reference. But it's too long of a story to tell today, so you'll just have to search Weedle on my YouTube channel for that story or something. Jeez, Ace certainly would get this job done a lot quicker if he knew Gus. It's almost like they intentionally moved when you learn to move in newer games, just so you would have to work to earn your stab. Nice, but not what I need for running in Forest. Anyways, over to Rick in Yellow, let's have a Bug Diddle match, cause there's no way that could go wrong. With all these string shots and mediocre tackle attacks, I'm sure this will be a quick battle that doesn't drag on. Oh. Past me is seriously sticking through with this, isn't he? I'm so sorry. This is necessary for the grind. Let me see if I can at least do some editing to make this a bit more bearable. Trainer gives more experience than wild Pokemon, even if they're the same level, so if you can muster a weaker Pokemon through a trainer fight, it is worth your while. Breeze is very close to having enough experience for something special, so I would like to get it out of the way sooner rather than later. Especially since it's my ticket to having an easy time in the area right outside this forest. At least if I choose to use it. So after a barrage of levels, 1 moves later, we're finally down and up to Caterpies in Leafgreen. In case you couldn't tell, the first area of a Pokemon game sadly tends to suffer from something I like to call beginningitis. The earlier the generation, the more prominent and longer lasting beginningitis tends to be. Since you're just starting out, the variety of Pokemon in your party as well as your opponents tends to be a bit shallow, resulting in most early matches coming down to who gets the most tackles out to win. At least we got things like that crit to spice up the action early on. So I do apologize if these battles seem a bit dull or repetitive. There's sadly not too much I can do to fix that right now, besides speeding up portions of battles. I do promise it'll get better as we level up our party, get more variety in our move pool, and we get more interesting opponents. Speaking of options though, we actually have a Pokemon that does something besides normal type moves, so why don't we actually use it to be done with these bugs? And we barely started battling and I already feel like they're bugging you guys. Thank goodness for Luck Puppy. You guys have no idea how much of a time saver he's gonna be in this game. And with that, down with Rick. Finished and obsolete. Kind of like his memes. Huh? What's this? Breeze is evolving? Congrats, our little bug has turned into a sleeping bag? But really, or should I say bug really, this is evolution. Most species, including all of the Pokemon we currently have in our party, are capable of turning into a stronger version of themselves after training. Sometimes they just get better stats, other times they gain new moves, abilities, or their typing would be different from normal. but Pokemon just happen to go through this quicker than other Pokemon. Speaking of which, I was originally gonna skip this trainer because he doesn't appear in Leaf Green, at least in this location. But this does give me a good chance to show rather than tell the benefits of evolution. Breeze gains the move Harden when he evolves. Harden allows you to increase your defense. It's only useful if you need to take some direct hits. Although, it's sadly going to be outclassed very quickly. You'll see later in this fight, attacks that fall under the special category like Pikachu's Thundershock will still make quick work out of it. And when trainers like this bug catcher have nothing but Metapods that know Harden, it makes them easy prey for whichever party member needs to experience more. Or if you're impatient as Huck, free experience for your starter or Pikachu. Thankfully this isn't the end of Breeze's growth as a Pokemon, since we're a few levels away from unlocking his true potential. When it comes to evolution, slow and steady wins the race, which means that even though Breeze is evolving quicker than our Pokemon, it won't be as strong as our other party members once it gets to their time to evolve. Like our baby Ace over in Leaf Green, it'll take some time, but it will eventually turn into a strong Pidgeotto like its yellow counterpart. In the meantime, Breeze will be helpful until we can get our Pokemon to their full potential, and he will have a role to play on our team once we get to that point. Darn, I'm gonna catch stronger Pokemon. Sure, Bug Catcher. Good luck trying to win with wild Metapods that only know Harden. Yeah, this is exactly why I recommend raising your own Caterpie instead of catching a Metapod from the wild. You can do that, but it's not going to be able to harm the opponent, so it'll be more work than it's worth. Just save yourself the time and get a Caterpie if you want it that badly. Before I forget, not all Pokemon evolve early for this level up in battle method, but I'll save that for a time when we encounter a Pokemon that evolves through those means. No, it's not what it looks like. Luck Puppy did not get his butt handed to him by a Caterpie. I make a joke that a monster bird came by and demolished him, but that's actually what happened. At least when I revealed that Ace was the monster bird. We're back to when I caught Ace in the wild. On the bright side, that means we're done with time paradoxes. And I get to show what happens if your Pikachu faints in yellow. It actually won't follow you around the overworld, because it's kind of unconscious at the moment, you inconsiderate folk. It's fine though, we gotta go back anyways. Now that I got all of my team that I can get up to this point in both games, I say it's time we pay a visit to that side route over at Viridian City, and I actually reveal a fight that I've been vaguely hinting at. I could do the fight with everyone I have, but for the sake of the comparison, let's make things a bit more interesting. Since I don't have Bulbasaur yet in yellow, things are a bit in Leaf Green's favor, so I'm gonna even those odds by letting Solo sit this fight out. So we're only going to go into it with the Pokemon we currently have in both games. Never fear, Solo will make her come back afterwards, but for now she's going to get a well-deserved rest. So, it's the fearsome 3 of Yellow versus the fairly fewer fearsome of Leaf Green. Who will have the easier time? Find out in the next episode of Pokemon Yellow vs Leaf Green, where the series lives up to its name for once, and the teams actually face off against each other in some sort of competition. Maybe next time there'll actually be a race. What sort of match awaits us? I'm certain most of you already know, but still, let's pretend there's suspense here, guys. Also, I assure you'll be finishing up the Viridian Forest as well. Until then though, take care everyone.